Hello, it's Sonia here with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Tuesday, and that means it's Tunisian Tuesday. So we are going to be doing a Tunisian crochet stitch, and I've already gotten us started here. So I've worked my beginning chain. So to do this stitch pattern, you're going to want to chain an even amount. So I just went ahead and chained 18, and I'm just using this DK weight yarn. I'm not sure what brand it is, and I'm using an H hook or a 5mm hook, and I just popped a rubber band on the end to do this swatch. Okay, so we're going to get started with our setup row for row 1. So I'm working on the back side of the chain in the back bump, and I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm just going to go across pulling up loops. So with Tunisian crochet, it is always worked in 2 parts for each row. So the first part of your row, you're putting your stitches on your hook, and the second part of your row, you're taking your stitches off. So this is row 1, the first part where we're putting the stitches on our hook. And if you've never done Tunisian crochet before, I do have a complete playlist that goes over the basics to help you get started. And I can place a link for that in the description box. Alright, so here we go. This is the first part of row 1. I have 18 loops on my hook, so whatever I chained is the amount that I will have on my hook. So now we're going to work these off for the second part. So to do that, I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1 stitch, and then yarn over and pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so there we go. There is row 1 all done. So now we're going to begin row 2, which is the start of the repeat. It's a 2-row repeat. So for our first stitch, we're going to work in that first vertical bar right there. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to insert our hook in Tunisian simple. And now we're going to yarn over and pull through 1 loop. And we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And we've completed that stitch. I don't know what this is called. It's kind of like a fusion of a double crochet and like a little puff stitch or bobble right there. It just gives like a little bump. Okay, so for our next stitch, we're going to do a purl stitch. So you want your yarn in front, and right in that next vertical bar, work that purl stitch. And we're going to repeat that across. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook in Tunisian simple, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we work our purl stitch all the way across. So you can see how it creates that nice little bobble, bump, puff stitch, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to yarn over in Tunisian simple, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and then work that purl stitch. And we're just doing that all the way across. Okay, so I've reached the end of my row. I just have 1 more stitch to do. So I have that purl stitch there, and then we need to work on the end here. So it looks like a chain that you would make with regular crochet. So you're going to insert your hook in that chain, and then yarn over, pull up a loop. So we have 18 loops on our hook, and we're going to work these off like we did for row 1. So yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so there is row 2. So let's begin row 3. So row 3 is similar to row 2, but we're just flip-flopping. So our first stitch for row 2 was that bobble stitch, where now it's going to be the Tunisian purl stitch. So we're going to have our yarn in front, so we're working the purl stitch. And then our second stitch is going to be that bobble stitch. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then your next stitch is going to be purl, and then we're going to yarn over and work that bobble stitch. So what you'll end up doing for this stitch pattern is you are going to repeat rows 2 and 3 for however long you want your swatch here. And I think this would be a really nice stitch for a lot of projects. I definitely want to make a project using this. It has a lot of nice texture and just looks really nice, but it's not that difficult to do. It's kind of like a take on the honeycomb stitch. It's a similar take on that, which is one of my absolute favorite stitches with Tunisian crochet. I just love it. I do a lot of projects with it. Oops, I didn't do my yarn over. Oh, I did do my yarn over. So it's similar to that, but it definitely has a bit more texture to it. And so it looks very neat in its own right. So now we're at the end of our row, so you can see it looks like a chain there. So you're just going to insert your hook into that chain, pull up your loop, and again we will have 18 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. So as I said before, you're going to repeat rows 2 and 3 for however long you like your swatch, and then we will work the bind off row. So I'm going to work a couple more rows so you can really see the stitch pattern, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so here is my swatch. I ended up working 10 rows and I did work the bind off, but I made another swatch to show you the bind off. So here's another one. I thought I wanted to use a lighter yarn, so I got this pink, and so this is 14 stitches across, so it's a little smaller than this guy, but you can see the stitch pattern a little bit better, and I think it's really, really a pretty stitch. And the nice thing is it does lay flat, because a lot of Tunisian stitches tend to curl and this one does not. So let's do the bind off for this guy. So what you're going to do is you're going to bind off in pattern. And some people might wonder, why do you do a bind off? Because, like, I guess technically you could just cut your yarn, but you can see it doesn't look quite finished here. So the bind off is important to give it that more finished look. So you can see on this guy here that we did bind off, and it definitely has a more of a finished look here than compared to this one. So let's do that. So we are going to bind off in pattern. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, but with this guy, it looks better to bind off in pattern. We ended on a row 2, so we're going to bind off with row 3. So that first stitch is going to be a purl stitch. So we're going to yarn over in front and we're going to bind off in purl. So you just want to make sure when you're binding off that you don't work too tightly. And then you just work that slip stitch. And again, I do have a tutorial going over the bind off in the playlist. So if you're unsure with what I'm talking about, that will help clear things up for you. Okay, so let's do the next stitch. So the next stitch is that bobble stitch. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to insert in that stitch in Tunisian simple, and you're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3 to bind off. And now we're going to work the purl. And we're going to do that bobble stitch again, yarning over and then pulling through all 3. And we just do this all the way across. Ball was trying to attack me there. So we're almost to the end here, so we just have that last stitch, so we're going to work in that chain there. And we do the bind off. So there we go. Now we have worked the bind off, so you can just see how it looks a little bit neater and cleaner. So I'm going to stretch her out so it looks nice and even. And there you go. I think it is a really pretty stitch. It's definitely similar to the honeycomb, but just a little bit different. It has a little bit more texture to it, a little bit more of a raised fabric. But again, I think it's really nice. So here's the other one. So you can see it in the darker color, which does look very nice, and in the lighter one. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.